have 6 done. We stopped the last hole at
Okay, looks like everybody's on now. I call to order the Wickliffe City Council meeting on March 2nd, 2021. Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Present.
Gerhardstein,
Here.
Jaworski,
Here.
Kosky,
Here.
Levon,
Here.
Sakis,
Here.
Piloto.
Here.
Approval of council minutes.
Make a motion, we accept minutes.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bogo, seconded by Councilman Gerhardstein, that the council meeting minutes of March 8th, 2021 be approved as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Piloto.
Yes.
Reports and communications from the mayor. Safety Director.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Good evening and happy spring, everyone. As we look forward to enjoying the nicer weather, I have some positive updates to start with. Our community center will be reopening April 1st. The Memorial Day Parade is back on this year, and any summer events ran by the city will be held, moving the park, car show, etc. The community cleanup day, I talked about a couple weeks ago, it will be on 5/15. It's a Saturday morning. If anybody likes, we're going to pass out garbage bags, trash pickers at the community center, then meet back for lunch at noon. We had a great turnout 2 years ago, so please help spread the word. It's going to be in the connection as well, and then also help out if you're available. There's a blood drive this Friday at the high school, and they tend to have them on Fridays, or the Family Resource Center will have them on some Saturdays, so it's very easy to get in between those 2 days. Anyone interested, I suggest they download the blood donor app, very easy to schedule. And then it sets your next schedule. So as soon as you leave, you can set the next one for 9 weeks, 10 weeks out, whatever the dates are. In regards to the federal funds, the last stimulus check, we're not sure on the guidelines or the exact amount we're going to get yet. Ideally, I think we're going to have some funds go to the emergency services, fire department for costs incurred, overtime, et cetera. And really, I'd like to have another small business grant and a household grant. Again, I don't know the guidelines if we're going to be able to or how we're going to be able to, but being with what we got last year, I think more of this needs to just go back to the residences if we're able to. We do have the date set for the first section of the Neighbors Protecting Neighbors program, and I actually sent that email to council just about half an hour ago. Monica and I have a meeting tomorrow with a Wickliffe company that's expanding, looking to bring in some new employees and almost double their size of their building as well. We had this conversation 2 years ago, but it was on hold for a bit. So starting that back up, that's exciting. And some extra sewer work very recently, I think as of Friday, that I'm sure Service Director Strausser is going to speak on, but just for council to be aware of. Some large projects we might have to. I'm not sure if we're going to have to bid out, but we're definitely going to have to job it out to some extent. And that's all I have, Mr. President. Back to you.
Mayor, I just have one quick question on the May 15th cleanup day. Is that going to be parks or like sidewalks, or are we allowing people to go on the off ramp, or are we doing anything with that, or no?
I don't believe, I know Aaron reached out to ODOT. They didn't get back to us yet. So we're letting folks know, like last year we had some of the Girl Scouts stayed at one of the parks. The Boy Scouts adopted one of the parks. But also letting folks know, like, one, if you don't know where to go, we'll assign you a location. As KWB does the litter index, we know some of the worst areas. I hate to even say worst because they're all very clean in general. So we can assign folks areas, and that information's in the article, or they can just walk up and down their street and go wherever they think is needed. So, but we'll let you know as soon as we can on the ramps. Hopefully we're gonna get out there too.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments for the Mayor, Safety Director? Thank you, Mayor. Reports of communications from the Director of Law.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do not have any report for council this evening.
Any questions or comments for the Law Director? Thank you, Scott. Reports of communications from the Council President. I have none. Amendments or additions to the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to administrators. Police Chief Ice.
Thank you, Mr. President. All the city council should have been emailed a copy of our annual report. So I'd like you to please take a look at that over the next couple of weeks, and let me know if you have any questions about that. Just a couple of things I can tell you is, obviously because of COVID, we reduced or almost eliminated traffic stops for a period of time. So our OVIs, jail inmates, traffic citations are all significantly down. Our narcotics arrests are down by about half. In 2019, we had 744 arrests. Last year, we had 373. Weapons are down by about a third. We had 73 in 19 and 57 last year. So I just want to caution everybody that this is, well, it's always good news when you have less crime, but I mean, it's still out there. We just weren't finding it because of the COVID. So most of our people that wanted to get vaccinated have been. So we're starting to ramp up our efforts again. We're going back to increasing our using traffic stops, self-initiated field activities. So I suspect by the end of this year, our numbers will be up around closer to where they were in 2019. I still have 2 employees that are out on COVID. Both of them have it, and one of them is actually coming back, I believe, tomorrow, and one on Saturday. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Any questions or comments for the police chief? Councilman Sakis.
Chief Ice, good evening. Just want to know, how are you? I meant to ask you this a couple weeks ago, but on staffing personnel, your department, you good? Are you up to the manpower you want and need?
Well, we're authorized by ordinance 31 full-time employees. We haven't had that number since 2009. We went down to, I think, 28 employees at one point in time, and then that's back when we were experiencing some significant reduction in our carryover. So right now we have 30 full-time employees. Could I use that extra guy back? Absolutely. Just take a look at the annual report. Look at our Facebook page. I don't see how anybody could argue that we couldn't use more manpower. So if it was possible to get that 31st person back, I'd be very happy with that.
Okay, and I don't know if this would so if there is money that comes in, that if we wanted to do that, we're able to do that with the money. from the COVID relief or the
So that's a decision the mayor would have to make. I'm certain he and I could have a discussion about it.
okay.
We just have-
I can tell you this, we just hired 3 people that, for retirees. So 2 of the folks are in the field training program right now. And the 3rd fellow is actually at Tri-C Police Academy right now. And there's other good quality candidates on this list. So if you decided to do it, this would be a good time to do it because there's good quality candidates on the list.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the police chief? Thank you, Chief Ice. Fire Chief Powers.
Thank you, Council President. We're just concentrating on vaccinating the community. We're running another point of distribution COVID pod at the community center this Thursday for about 1,500 people during the day. And other than that, we're doing well in the fire station. Nobody's been sick. Actually, we're thinking about relaxing some of our internal policies because we're doing so well. We'll monitor that and see, and hopefully by April 1st, we'll reduce those internal policies. That's all I have, Council President.
Any questions or comments for the fire chief? Thank you, Chief Powers. Finance Director Doles.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to address, Councilman Jaworski asked me a couple questions at the last meeting and I did not have the information. So I'd like to share that with you now. Carryover for the general fund at the end of February was $5.5 million. However, just to contrast that, today I ran the report and we're currently at 4.9 million. So it fluctuates quite a bit during the month, but I anticipate we'll probably close around 5.2 million in March. Other than that, I have nothing else to report.
Any questions or comments for the Finance Director? Thank you, Ms. Doles. Engineer Formica.
Thank you, Council President. One thing to add to my report, I received an email today from the Ohio Municipal League talking about that grant. Apparently, this is all preliminary, but the city's in line to receive a $2.5 million out of that 1.9 trillion. That's the city Wickliffe share, according to the Municipal League. And there are some criteria in here of what it's eligible for. I'd be happy to mail that out to mayor and council. One of the exciting things in there for me is it says item number 4, make necessary investments in water, sewer, and infrastructure. So maybe we can loosen up a few dollars to fix our roads or fix our sewers.
Yeah, Pete, send that over. At the mayors and managers meeting today, they said they were going to forward it on, and I asked for it, and I have not received it. So
sure, I'll mail it to everyone.
Thank you.
As I said, I have nothing else to add. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for the engineer? Councilman Gerritstein.
Pete, I read your report. On your report, there's no project under Roberts. We had talked about repaving Roberts this year. I don't see that on your sheet.
Yes, it's not on there yet, Mr. Councilman, because it hasn't been authorized. I think council was looking at passing the budget first, and then I don't know if that needs to go to the improvement committee or what, but it hasn't been authorized, so I hadn't put it on there yet.
Okay.
Pete, follow-up question to that then. Were we planning on starting that after July 1st anyways, or no? That's not like an ODOT one where we get to the beginning of the fiscal year.
It's not a funding thing, so we could get it out as soon as possible.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for the city engineer? Councilman Jaworski.
Mr. Council President, I guess the question is, then how do you want to handle that? Do you want that to go into the improvement committee, or is that something that you just want this body to just authorize CT to begin the plans and specs for?
Yeah, I think we could put it in the improvements committee and then we'll call a meeting and then let them, I think in theory, do we need to have an improvement committee or just call for a bid on the plans and specs? I think we're better off with a motion to authorize for the plans and specs. Or do you think that we should meet on it? You know, it's your committee.
I have no problem with the council just authorizing plans and specs. We've council during our budget process was in full agreement about this project.
Correct. So I'll make a motion to authorize the city engineer to begin or prepare plans and specifications for the improvement of Roberts Road.
Second.
Moved by Council President Levon, second by Councilman Garrett Stein to authorize the engineer to create plans and specs for the improvement of Roberts Road in a 2021 project. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo, I'm sorry, Tom, I think you're on mute still.
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kowski,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Baloto.
Yes.
Any further questions or comments for the city engineer?
Which brings me to another, which reminds me, we did contact the contractor for Homewood Drive to find out when their schedule was to come and finish the paving work. We haven't heard back. Well, we did hear back from them. They're trying to get a hold of their subcontractors and get things lined up. So I don't have an exact date, but we're working with them to get that moving now that the weather's starting to break.
Thank you, Pete. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
Service Director Strouser. Ron, you're on mute.
Thank you, Council President. With the nice weather, we ended third shift early. Been working in parks, trying to get the leaves from the fall, trying to get baseball diamonds ready, stuff like that. Kobe 1 is coming along. Can't make the grass grow any faster, but other than that, the rest of the field's getting in pretty good shape. We put in some new bases and pegs for bases and things like that. The school's going to work on a pitcher's mound, getting it ready, and it shouldn't be too far off. The girls' team's going to be playing down at Gendra. That we got that field pretty decent shape down at Gendra 2. And then we're going to start trying to work on the rest of them as time allots. As the mayor mentioned, Lakeland Boulevard, we've been cammering the sewers all on Lakeland Boulevard for this paving project coming up. So all the sewers, there's sewers on the north and south side of the road. So all the sewers that are on the south side of the road, the sanitary and the storm, are okay. The ones that are on the north side of the road, all they really do is have all the catch basins on the street. Down near 305, the sewer is 98% blocked. So there's just a trickle of water getting through there. We have noticed a little bit of when it rains real hard that it takes a while for the water to go down. And now we found out why. So we've been working on that diligently, trying to get that sewer open, and it's not being very cooperative. So we may have to job that out to another company to come in. We're still trying to see what happens. We did get we got one 300-foot section done in an 8-hour day today with 3 guys on it. So that it's a help. It's a step in the right direction. But the further we get east, the harder and harder it gets. So we're working on it. I'll keep you guys posted, and when I find out more, but I may have to come back to you and find out if we can get some. Pete and I have been talking. We may have to come back and try and go with a different route to clean the sewers, just because there's so much debris in there. We don't know if there's a collapsed sewer problem, or if it came from over in Eastlake, or just a matter of time that we haven't cleaned it in enough time. It's hard to say really what the issue is until we get a little further into it. So we also had another sewer issue, in case any of you guys hear about it, on 296th Street. We actually had the sewer main blocked up on Friday about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I got a call from a resident on Catawba and said that they had some water in their basement, and they had a sewer guy there. And he said, so make a long story short, our main sewer line was all backed up on 296th and the whole street of Catawba. Most of those houses already don't have basements, but I would venture to say probably at least a half a dozen homes probably had water in their basement. I only got one call from that one individual, but I'm sure that they had water in their basement because the sanitary sewers were full to within 2 feet of the street level. We were able to get it open. We believe that the problem was probably some vandalism or something like that. Somebody threw a driveway marker stake down into the sewer, and it just had a whole bunch of debris get caught around it. And it's stuff like that happens every once in a while, but we were able to get it open real quick, and I know all the basements went down, but I'm sure if any of the councilmen over there get a call, there isn't really nothing the city does for them, but we were able to get it open real quick, but unfortunately, I'm sure some basements flooded over there. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, we've been working in the pool. The pool repairman has been back with the nice weather. He's just about wrapping it up. I figure the major building structure repairs should probably be done this week. And then I'm actually, we called a couple people today to get some pricing on the Pebble Flex around the kiddie slide and things like that to get that area repaired in the aquatic center, and also the entrance to the lazy river. So we're waiting on pricing on that kind of stuff. Also have to get some pricing, or considering doing the whole pool needs recaulked inside. So it's just a matter of if we have the time to do it ourselves or if we have to job it out. That's about it. Yeah, that's about all I have. Still looking and searching for a new employee. We had a half a dozen decent applications. We're going to be starting the interview process here probably next week. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the service director? Thank you, Ron. Building Commissioner Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. As you requested, I did call for a planning commission meeting for informational guidance in regards to referendum zoning. That'll be the first Thursday of the month. Be advised, it's a 6 o'clock meeting instead of our standard 7. Please note that in your in your notes. So it's and that's all I have.
I appreciate it, Ray, but please remind whomever sends out those notices to email the rest of council so we all can attend as well. That Zoom.
Also it'll be on the web page too.
Sure. Any questions or comments for the building commissioner? Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Director Stop.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just 2 quick comments. We are starting to accept applications for lifeguards. We have it on the website, so persons can go to the website to get the apps for that. And also we have our first big event since COVID shutdown of last year. We're doing our Easter egg hunt on Saturday. It's for Wickliffe kids up through 7 years old. It's going to be at 11:30 up at Colby. It looks like we're going to have some decent weather, and we're just trying to spread out people as much as we can all throughout the park. So we're looking forward to it. And that's it.
Any questions or comments for the recreation director? Councilwoman Koski.
Tim, I was wondering, as far as the lifeguard, do you know if there's any training that you guys will have available?
Yeah, we try to have a lifeguarding class. Our instructor, unfortunately, she moved to Akron, and she actually came up 2 years ago to conduct the class. She has since become pregnant, has a family, so I don't think she's going to be coming up to Akron. There is someone at the high school who potentially could do something for us. So we try to have a lifeguarding class right before the season starts for us, because you need a pool to swim in. So, typically we're kind of racing to the deadline to get the pool ready to roll. So it's always a tough feat to get it the class in and have the lifeguards ready to roll as soon as the pool is open.
Yeah, I would just think, since you didn't have the pool open last year, you would have fewer candidates that are
Correct.
qualified. So.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the recreation director? Thank you, Tim.
Yep.
The economic development manager is excused. I will now open the floor for audience participation. This portion of the meeting is intended for the audience to address the council and mayor, not the directors. If anyone would like to address Wickliffe City Council, please state your name and address for the clerk's record. Each person will have a 5-minute maximum amount of time. Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? Yes, Mr. Liss.
Jim List, 29717 Arthur Avenue. I'm thankful for the work the police are doing, monitoring our main thoroughfares. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? If not, I'll mark audience participation closed. Committee reports. The Finance Committee met on March 15th, 2021 at 7 p.m. to discuss the review of requests for proposals. Present, Bogo, Gerritstein, Jaworski, Koski, Levon, Sakis, Saloto. Also present, Barbish, Formica, Dole, Sack, Drake, Zeely. The meeting was called to allow 2 different companies to present the business case on the RFP for economic development of Euclid Avenue. The 2 companies were MS Consultants and OHM Advisors. MS Consulting was represented by Tony Urinker, Shannon Fergus, Aaron Moriarty, Chris McGill, and Sean Suter. Shannon notified the committee that MS Consultants is a full-service firm with multiple locations in Ohio. Their process is market-driven and will provide the community needs within the zoning code. She also described the inputs and outputs of the strategic redevelopment plan. Aaron described the goals and strategies of their company, which included ideas like planning pop-ups where residents vote on proposals, SWOT, which is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats analysis, and an engagement report. Tony wrapped up the meeting, letting the committee know that he grew up in the area and he knows our city's needs. OHM Advisors were represented by Aaron Dominy and Arthur Schmidt. Aaron stated that they are also a full-service firm and are also an Ohio-based company. He described the scope of the project and detailed that it would be a 6-month process. He notified the committee that they write their own zoning codes themselves. He provided multiple examples of projects they have done in Northeast Ohio. Arthur discussed where new development and redevelopment is necessary and stated that their process is also market-driven. After both informative presentations, the committee discussed whether we should recommend one of these companies or choose not to follow through with the RFP. Councilman Bogo and Councilwoman Saloto recommended OHM. Councilman Gerritstein, Jaworski, Levon, and Sakis preferred MS Consulting, while Councilwoman Koski is reluctant in going forward with anyone right now. The committee recommends to council that we reward the RFP to MS Consulting at the bid price of $45,000. This item is reported out of committee. Meeting adjourned at 8:18 p.m. Respectfully submitted. The committee of the whole met on March 15, 2021 at 8:19 p.m. for the purpose of referendum zoning. Present, Bogo, Jaworski, Koski, Levon, Sakis, Saloto. Also present, Barbish, Formica, Dole, Sack, Drake, Seeley. Council President Levon relayed to the committee that if we send the same ordinance to the floor regarding referendum zoning being added to the November ballot that we sent in 2019, then zoning changes will revert to chapter 1341 of our codified ordinances. Councilman Gerritstein had some hesitation with this and would prefer if the verbiage was defined in the charter so that it can't easily be modified by any council in the future. Law Director Zeely would not recommend putting the exact process in the charter, as any small changes that would need to be made to the process would have to go out to the voters to modify. He also stated that he has some loose ends that he would like to tighten up if the voters pass the removal of referendum zoning. The committee opened up the floor for audience participation at 8:24 p.m. Steve Bittens of 29167 Ridge Road, who is on the Planning Commission, would like to see a change to referendum zoning, but with a plan or established procedure that doesn't allow it to be changed on a whim. He stated that the charter needs guidelines so that a future council can't modify it quickly, or that a new developer or property owner can't come in and have the zoning changed. The committee closed audience participation at 8:27 p.m. Council President Levon recommended that the Planning Commission review this at their April meeting and make recommendations to the committee of what they would like to see written in the charter. There was no objection to this recommendation. This item will remain in committee. Meeting adjourned at 8:34 p.m. Respectfully submitted. Councilwoman Saloto.
Okay, great. Thank you. So the Legislation and Welfare Committee met on the 15th. Attendees were Hartstein, Bogo, Jaworski, Koski, Sakis, Saloto, and Levon. Also present were Formica, Dole, Sack, Drake, Zeeley, and Mayor Barbish. The meeting started at 8:34 p.m. 3 topics. The first topic was Chapter 1115 Flood Damage Reduction Ordinance. Mr. Sack asked for time to discuss the standard Ohio EPA ordinance. Pete Formica also stated that this is a model ordinance on floodplains. Floodplains, and there's not much specific to Wickliffe, but they needed to make some changes to, Pete decided to make some changes, added some flood proofing definitions, several other points had to be added or removed, rendering it more specific to Wickliffe. Mr. Formica updated it. Pete also needs to send the updated ordinance to ODNR. So it was the agreement of the committee to authorize Mr. Formica to send the updated ordinance to ODNR for approval and check, and it was reported out of committee. The next topic was the site and grading plan fees. Ray and Pete are struggling with project fees, specifically needed to continue. They always need to go back and ask for additional fees from applicants, asking for an increase in the deposit fees, agreement of the committee to allow an increase in fees, then also an agreement of the committee to authorize the law director to update the ordinance with the new fees, and it was reported out of committee. And then the third topic was erosion and settlement control fees. We are now going to be doing an in-house plan with CT Consultants. We need to set up a procedure for review and site inspections with fees. It will save the city some money not having to go through Lake County Sewer and Water. Mr. Gerhardstein asked if the city will now get inspection fees. Pete added that Pete or his people will be doing the inspections at a lower fee to the city. Mr. Levon stated about the comparative costs, and he was assured that this was the less expensive alternative than Lake County. It was agreement of the committee to authorize the law director to create a new ordinance with corresponding fees, and it was reported out of committee. It was adjourned, the committee meeting was adjourned at 8:53 p.m.
Okay, I'll make a motion to authorize the engineer to update the ordinance on Chapter 1115 Flood Damage Reduction Ordinance to ODNR to update that ordinance, I should say. Chapter 1115 Flood Damage Reduction Ordinance.
Second.
Moved by Council President Levon, seconded by Councilwoman Sloto to authorize the city engineer to update Chapter 1115 Flood Damage Reduction Ordinance. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Law Director, do you have something to say? Scott?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Council President. Regarding the next topic that was in that committee on where I was going to be authorized to prepare a new ordinance, I just wanted to make you aware that the building commissioner and myself reviewed our ordinances, and now we have found an existing ordinance that we can modify to control that language. So if there was going to be a motion for me to prepare legislation, it would be on that one instead of creating a new ordinance, but to amend our ordinances.
Okay, I will make a motion to authorize the law director to modify the site and grading plan fees on do you have the specific chapter?
I don't have it in front of me. I can pull it real quick, but
No, don't worry about it.
Legislation.
I'll make the motion to authorize the law director to update the site and grading plan fees on the current ordinance.
Second.
Moved by Council President Levon, second by Councilwoman Sloto to authorize the law director to upgrade the site and grading plan fees on the current ordinance. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
And lastly, I'll make a motion to authorize the law director to create a new ordinance involving erosion and settlement control fees.
Second.
Moved by Council President Levon, second by Councilwoman Sloto to authorize the law director to create a new ordinance regarding erosion and settlement control fees. Discussion? Law Director Zealy?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Council President Levon, if it was confusing what I said before. This is where we found an existing ordinance. We don't need to create new legislation. We can amend something we have.
So what about the site and grading plan? Was that completely?
Yes, that both of them are just to amend existing ordinances.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I
All
wasn't clear on that.
No worries. Maria, would you please withdraw your second?
I withdraw my second.
I'll withdraw my motion. I'll make a motion to authorize the law director to modify the current ordinance regarding erosion and settlement control fees.
I second it.
Council President Levon, seconded by Councilwoman Sloto to authorize the law director to modify the erosion and settlement control fees in the current ordinance. Law Director Zealy. Scott, do you have anything? Your hands up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to figure out how to take it down. Sorry about that.
No worries. Any discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kowski,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto,
Yes.
Councilman Garrettstein.
Mr. Council President, I need to amend my minutes of the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting on March 1st. I forgot to mention that the community gardens are marked out of committee.
Thank you, sir. We will update that. Thank you. Any other committee reports?
Mr. Council President,
Yes, Mr. Councilman Jaworski.
just for the record, I was against the referendum zoning. You said we were all for it.
I apologize. I didn't say we're off for it. I said the committee recommends that the council go for it. I can apologize. I will amend the meeting minutes to state that you were opposed to that as well.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any other committee reports? Any commission reports? Seeing no old business or new business, we'll move on to ordinances.
Ordinance number 2021-14, an ordinance amending chapter 146.03, Planning Commission fees, special deposits of the codified ordinances of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, first reading. Ordinance number 2021-15, an ordinance amending chapter 146.04, building commissioner fees of the codified ordinances of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, first reading. Resolution number 2021-02, a resolution recognizing Joan Beal for her years of service to the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Whereas Joanne Beal was an integral part of the city of Wickliffe, and it was the city's good fortune to have had such an outstanding individual as a member of the community since 1960. And whereas Joanne was the beloved and devoted wife of 62 years to the late William Bill, was the beloved and devoted mother of Lauren, Susan, Bridget, William Jr., Charles, and Brian, grandmother, great-grandmother, sister, aunt, and cousin to many. And whereas Joanne was born on April 2nd, 1937 in Cleveland, Ohio, was a graduate of Beaumont High School, taught for Willoughby Preschool, and volunteered unconditionally wherever asked. And whereas Joanne was an active member of Our Lady of Mount Carmel Parish and was a member of the Mount Carmel PTU for 30 years while her children were in the school, a member of the Mount Carmel Players, and a member of the Mount Carmel Festival Committee. And whereas Joanne's most important job was to be a devoted wife, mother, grandmother, aunt, and homemaker. Her family meant the world to her, and she cherished the many lifelong friendships she cultivated. She loved spending time with her children and grandchildren and watching them participate in various activities. She enjoyed family get-togethers, road trips with the girls, playing cards, bowling, going to the casino, the theater, black tie events, and everything life had to offer. And whereas Joanne was inducted into the Wickliffe Hall of Fame in 2004 in the civic category for her many years of service to the Parks and Recreation Commission. Her husband, Bill, was also elected into the Wickliffe Hall of Fame in 2016 in the sports category for his many years of service to the Wickliffe Midget Football League and Wickliffe Baseball League. And whereas Joanne served on the Parks and Recreation Commission for over 45 years, at least 4 times as chairperson. During this time, she saw pavilions built, playground equipment replaced, the Colby Aquatic Center, new gender pool, and Orlando Spray Ground constructed, walking trails developed, name plaques created and installed at each park, as well as multiple other park improvements. She treasured everything about all 7 Wickliffe parks, from the pools to the ball diamonds, as well as the security of the parks, believing the park should benefit all residents. And whereas this council and the mayor are of the opinion that the exemplary dedication of Joanne Beal to the city of Wickliffe should be officially recognized.
Suspension?
Second.
By Councilman Sakis, seconded by Councilman Jaworski, to suspend the rules of council and place resolution 2021-02 on third and final reading. Discussion? Councilwoman Koski.
I always really enjoyed speaking with Joanne. She was a lot of fun, and I really appreciate all the years of dedication, and she will be greatly missed.
Further discussion?
Mr. Council President, I had the
Jaworski.
pleasure of serving on Parks and Recreation Commission with Joanne for 8 years. And she was as professional as could be running the Parks and Recreation Commission in those meetings. We accomplished a lot. She was certainly dedicated to the city. She helped the city tremendously, and she will be forever missed.
Councilman Bogo.
Yes, I like to also add to Joanne's legacy, being very involved with her and her kids with my kids, getting to know her and her husband. What a pleasure. What a jewel for Wickliffe. That's all I have to add.
Councilman Gerritstein.
I see some of the members of the Beal family are on the meeting tonight. I would like to say the gratitude of the city of Wickliffe. Their parents gave a lot to the city and will be forever grateful for their time and effort.
Councilman Sakis.
Yes, thank you, Beal family. Your mother, awesome. And she did a great job always volunteering. So thank you. And she was always at every event I've seen her at. So thank you.
Yes, I would like to say that both her and her husband, Bill, were great assets to the city, always giving and always volunteering their time, and a great family with great ties to the city. And we appreciate all they've done for the city. Any further discussion? Councilwoman Saloto.
Yeah, I too want to say, what an amazing family. I mean, I think I see a couple family members, yes, and what an amazing family. And they raised an amazing family, and they were just an amazing asset to the city. And so is their family still. So love them.
Okay. Any further discussion or comments? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Koski,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto,
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Sakis, second by Councilman Gerritstein to adopt resolution 2021-02 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Koski,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto,
Yes.
Other legislation? Miscellaneous? If not, I'll entertain a motion to move into executive session to discuss personnel.
I'll make
So
a
moved.
motion.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Jaworski, seconded by Councilman Sakis to move into executive session to discuss personnel. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Yes.
sorry, Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Koski,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
All right, thank you all. We'll move into executive session. Please meet up at City Hall if you're on council. Thank you. I'm gonna need a motion to move back, entertain a motion to reconvene into the council meeting.
Make a motion, we reconvene in the council.
Moved by Councilman Garrett Stein, second by Councilwoman Sloto to reconvene into the council meeting. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion, entertain a motion for adjournment. Moved by Councilman Jaworski, second by Councilman Sakis to adjourn the meeting. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You guys.
Hey, guys, does anybody need a